Men face those negative emotions, or they will destroy you with rage, with addictions, with alcohol and porn. Feel or be fucked. I am Sebastian, your addiction recovery coach, and I used to not be willing to face those emotions. I would cope by doing drugs, by doing alcohol, by watching porn, so on and forth. If you want to know why and how to face those emotions instead of escaping them, stay till the end of the video. Why is it so hard to face your negative emotion? Nobody wants to feel this kind of pain. What tends to happen? We might have trauma from the past, from our childhood. We might have things that have triggered us when we were younger, and it develops a pattern in our brain. And your ego wants to survive at any cost, so he doesn't want you to face that pain. You are fighting against your ego when you have those negative emotions. Your ego wants to bury them emotion deep inside of yourself and will not want them to come up to surface. Unfortunately, when you have this type of resistance, it persists. It's not something that you can avoid. And even if you think you can avoid those negative emotions, in a very insidious way, they will come up as sickness, as disease, as something that will fuck with your mental and body well-being. You cannot escape those negative emotions. You might be able to resist. You might be able to use all the willpower you can muster to avoid them and bury them deep inside. But one way or another, they will destroy you. You have to integrate that shadow side. You have to accept those negative emotions and face them. Or else you will be constantly run away towards your own demise. And you have many, many ways not only to repress and suppress and use your willpower to resist them, you can avoid them altogether by using things like porn, alcohol, drugs, video game, Netflix, all that cheap dopamine and all the cheap dopamine and cheap distraction we have nowadays is the best way to avoid finding our own authentic self and finding who we truly are. Unfortunately, finding your true authentic self has a lot to do with facing those negative emotions, facing emotions generally speaking, but a lot of it comes from those negative emotions that are nothing more, nothing less than growing pains. Unfortunately, even if you are not trying to suppress or repress them because they are so hard to face, you are not willing to accept them so you can just cope with pleasures and overstimulation of the brain and the cheap dopamine will enable you to avoid them all your life. You could be doing this for the rest of your life. But that is obviously something I would not recommend. For me, I remember there was a time when I was drinking alcohol before I gave up. And I had issues with myself. I had issues with accepting who I am. And I was just drinking alcohol to avoid. Drinking alcohol when I was bored. Drinking alcohol when I had issues with my then girlfriend. Drinking alcohol when I was not willing to be a man in that relationship. When I was not willing to set boundaries, I was drinking. Instead of confronting my girlfriend and telling her what I was about and what I really wanted from that relation, I was just being passive aggressive and drinking. And there was another time when I was using porn, when I was anxious, when I was stressed, and weed every now and then. You understand what I'm trying to say? Even right now, you might be using Netflix to avoid dealing with some emotion. You might be using video games to avoid facing that sadness, facing that depression. Unfortunately, that sadness, that depression, those negative emotions are not going to go away. You avoid them, and yes, you can avoid them with all that cheap distractions and that cheap pleasure and that cheap dopamine. Yes, you can repress it and use your willpower to suppress it. but it won't go away. It will manifest in one way or another. And if you keep avoiding them, if you keep suppressing them, as I said, it will lead to your own demise. You will not be able to self-actualize. And that is why, to conclude this video and to end with a positive thought, meditation will save your life. And I won't even go into details about meditation. I'm going to give you one practice that can help you integrate that shadow, a practice that will help you face those negative emotions. It's called the letting go technique by David Hawkins. It's a bit more simple to explain than meditation, and it's really very easy to incorporate in your life, in your day-to-day life. Letting go is very simple. Once you have those negative emotions, and those negative emotions manifest themselves in a part of your body. Generally, it's the stomach, but it could be another place. So when it manifests itself, you relax your body completely. When you relax your body, you activate the parasympathetic activity in your nervous system. So you are completely relaxed. You accept it. You don't need to embrace it. You just accept it and allow it to be. By relaxing your body, you are doing so. And not giving in and indulging the thoughts you have about this particular emotion. You put that aside. You just let them be. You just focus on that sensation in your body. It's just a body sensation. And generally speaking, when you have a strong negative emotion, it's really disempowering, especially when it comes to your body. It's almost like it handicaps you for a while. I remember there was time when I was so sad and so fearful, and it gripped my body completely. It overwhelmed me. But I would just relax, breathe in and breathe out, and relax my body completely. Relax my body as much as I possibly could. And I realized that when I did not resist, by accepting it, I avoid resisting it. And when there's no resistance, that emotion, which is just an emotion, can melt into something else, can melt, generally speaking, into relief. But the more you're able to face those negative emotions, the more it will mate in things like joy, the more you can let go of that anger, let go of the depression, let go of the sadness. The more you let go of that resistance, and once there's no resistance, that negative emotion can just become an emotion, and that emotion can be something beautiful. There will be a time when you are so good at letting go of those negative emotions that you are welcoming them. You want them to come. You want all your negative emotion to come up because you know how to deal with that. And that will make you a more spiritual person, a more authentic person, a more self-actualized person, a more healthy, masculine man. And that is what I want for all of you. So face your emotion. Feel them. Don't be fucked. Feel your emotion. Embrace them. Accept them. And you'll thank me later. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Sebastien, your addiction recovery coach, and I'm here to help those of you who want to give up on, desexualize your mind, desexualize their mind and other addictive compulsions, and be here. Thank you so much. And I'll see you.